Hello and welcome. Have you ever looked at the world and felt like there's some kind of invisible thread connecting everything, from massive global events down to the biggest moments in your own life? Well, you're in exactly the right place. Today we're diving into a really fascinating astrological system called the Pluto phases, which claims to be the secret key to decoding it all.
Okay, so here's a question for you. What on earth could possibly connect the launch of the very first iPhone, the 2020 lockdowns, and the 9/11 attacks? I mean, they seem completely and utterly random, right? Well, according to this system, those huge events are not random at all. In fact, they're all stitched together by a single powerful cosmic thread.
I mean, just think about the absolute explosion of social media in the mid-2000s. It completely rewired the way we all connect. Then, you can fast forward to the early 2020s, a time that was really defined for all of us by those worldwide health restrictions. And if we go back even further to the early 90s, you have the monumental collapse of the Soviet Union, which literally redrew the entire map of the world. The Pluto phases system argues that these weren't just isolated things happening. They were actually chapters in a much, much larger cosmic story.
So what is this secret key connecting everything? According to the theory, it's an astronomical point called Pluto minus 135 degrees. Now don't worry, we're not going to get too bogged down in the technical stuff. The easiest way to think about it is like a giant cosmic spotlight. And whichever zodiac sign that spotlight is shining on, well, that's what sets the dominant theme, the entire vibe really, for that whole period in history. So as you can see, this system breaks up our recent history into three really distinct phases. From 1990 to 2002, we were in the Cancer phase. Then, from 2003 to 2016, the Leo phase took over. And right now, we are smack in the middle of the Virgo phase, which is set to last all the way until 2032. So let's break down what each of these cosmic eras was all about, and we'll start with the one we're living in right now.
All right, so here we are currently living through the Virgo phase. This is an era that the system says is all about themes of control, analysis, and, you guessed it, order.
If you know anything about Virgo energy, you know it's all about the details: analysis, health, order, and control. Does that ring any bells from the last few years? The theory points right at the global lockdowns, that intense focus on hygiene, and all the debates around censorship as just textbook examples of this Virgo influence shaping our world.
And here's where it gets even more interesting. In astrology, signs are grouped by different qualities, and Virgo is what we call a mutable sign. They're all about adaptability and change. Well, this system points out that in 2025, 6 out of the 10 major world leaders will have mutable sun signs, like Gemini, Virgo, or Sagittarius. Is that just a coincidence, or is it a reflection of the era's energy? Okay, let's jump in our cosmic time machine and rewind a bit. Before our current Virgo era, we were in the Leo phase, from 2003 to 2016. And, true to Leo's nature, this was a time of explosive creativity, entertainment, and yeah, a very healthy dose of global drama.
The whole idea is that the themes of the sign just perfectly match the events of the era. Leo is the ultimate performer, right? It rules creativity, self-expression, and being in the spotlight. And what defined this phase? The birth of Facebook, YouTube, and the iPhone, platforms that basically turned every single one of us into the star of our own show. But Leo also has a shadow side, one that's tied to high-stakes drama, which the system connects to huge events like the 2008 financial crisis.
And check this out for a wildly specific example. Let's talk about the Final Destination films. In astrology, the 8th house is what rules death. The system claims that during the Leo phase, this house of death was in Pisces, which is a water sign. And believe it or not, the deaths in those films were all about water and liquids. But now, in our Virgo phase, that same house has moved into Aries, a fire sign. So the prediction is that the deaths in the upcoming 2025 film will be fire-related. It's an absolutely fascinating and detailed application of the theory.
And before Leo, we had the Cancer phase. This era, from 1990 to 2002, was all about deep emotion, groundbreaking research, and some really major structural collapses.
Honestly, this iconic quote from The Matrix just perfectly captures the energy of the Cancer phase. Cancer, as a sign, is all about our deepest roots and hidden truths. So it's really no surprise that this period was all about questioning the very nature of reality itself.
And this is where you really see the two sides of Cancer's coin. On the one hand, you have this profound drive for discovery, which gave us foundational tools like the World Wide Web and Google.
But on the other side, Cancer is about structures and foundations, and its darker theme is collapse, which this system directly links to the fall of the USSR and the absolutely shattering impact of 9/11.
Okay, so that's the world stage, but I know what you're probably thinking. How does this apply to me? To you? Well, this is where it gets really personal.
The system applies the exact same logic to individual birth charts, claiming that people's biggest successes align up with the energy of the phase. For example, it connects Sabrina Carpenter's recent chart toppers to helpful planetary placements in her house of money and value. And it draws similar lines for Elon Musk's Starlink launch, saying it aligned with his house of career. It even tries to predict future events, like a potential Donald Trump presidency in 2025, all based on these cosmic alignments.
Now, on the flip side, the system also tries to explain tragedies by finding challenging astrological alignments. It applies this analysis to some deeply somber events, like the assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr. and Muammar Gaddafi, and the tragic murders of JonBenet Ramsey and Adam Walsh, linking them to difficult planetary placements in their charts during no specific time periods.
And to get even more granular, the system sometimes weaves in numerology to analyze specific dates. So for example, you can take a date like July 5th, 2024, add up all the digits, and boil it right down to a single number. In this case, it's 2. Each number is then linked to a zodiac sign's energy, which adds another whole layer of interpretation to events, or even to things like addresses. It's just one of the tools used to get more specific within the bigger phase.
So after all of that, what's the ultimate goal? Well, it's to offer a kind of cosmic toolkit, a way for you to navigate your own life by understanding all these energies.
This toolkit is broken down into 4 key areas: using the power of color to get in sync with the phase's energy, using the power of time to pick your lucky hours, the power of date to choose the best days for big life events, and of course, the power of zodiac sign to understand your connections with other people.
And the central promise behind all of this is actually pretty simple. By understanding the right and wrong elements for your own sign within the current Pluto phase, the right colors, the right times, even the right people, you can supposedly transform your life for the better. Which, of course, leaves us with a fascinating question to think about. Is the Pluto phases system a genuinely powerful predictive tool that decodes the secret language of the cosmos? Or is it a brilliant new framework for finding meaningful patterns in the beautiful chaos of history? I suppose, as always, the answer is up to you.
And that's our look into the Pluto phases. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this truly fascinating system. Whether you see it as a cosmic map or maybe just a new lens for looking at the world, I really hope it's given you plenty to think about. Until next time, stay curious.